What's up, guys? Mike Holt here. Another kind of tidbit I wanted to share with you today is I want to go over the types of potential buyers that are out there on the market. So, for buyers, this is the people that you're competing with when you're going to buy a house. And for sellers, these are the people that may come through and actually submit an offer on your house. So, we'll just kind of start into it. The average, normal, regular person that's looking to buy a primary residence or maybe a vacation home, just the average family or whoever it is, they're coming in with most likely it's going to be some type of loan. Maybe if you have someone moving in from a high cost of living area into a lower cost living area, they may come in with cash, but it kind of varies. That's the average normal person that you can expect to see. And then next, you have kind of the long-term kind of rental investors, whether they're trying to grab a property for an Airbnb, short-term rental, or long-term rental. Even with this, you can actually have institutional investors where these big hedge funds are going into various neighborhoods, buying up a ton of properties in the expectation of just holding them and then renting them out for a long period of time. So that's what you're competing with. Most of those offers are very much in cash only. Very rarely will you see them actually get a loan. People that are coming in with that have the cash to buy a house up front, what they'll do is they'll buy a house in cash, lock down everything, and then they'll do a mortgage on the back end to get that cash back out, and then they can flip it into more properties as well. If you're interested in doing that, I do have some loan partners that can help you out with. Just comment down below and I'll connect you. Next, you have fix and flippers. So these are the people that are going to come in and basically buy your house. Like, say your house is it needs some work. I'm not going to say rough shape, but it needs some work. These are the people that are going to come in, buy your house below market value, do some renovations, update some things, make some improvements, and then put it back on the market. Ideally, in the next 3 months, the sooner the better for them, usually. Then you have wholesalers. So these are the folks that if you're a homeowner and you have equity built up in your house, these are the folks that you're getting text messages from, calls from, say, hey, let me buy your house. A lot of times these are wholesalers. They basically get you under contract and try to flip that contract to someone else to buy it at a higher price, and basically they'll get the difference in the premium when reselling that contract. And then lastly, the big topic of the day is, what is an iBuyer? So these individuals or corporations, very similar to fix and flippers, or kind of like wholesalers, they will go and try to find off-market properties with all their advertising, all their marketing, said, hey, we'll give you a cash deal, just sell it to us, don't put it on the market. But the thing with the iBuyers, I would say 9 times out of 10, they will do nothing to your house to fix it up before they relist it. One of these individuals is Opendoor. You'll see that a lot, and then OfferPad as well. Zillow used to do it, and then they lost a lot of money doing it, and they don't do it anymore. But they might be getting back in the game. I heard that recently, so look out for that. So, like, especially with Opendoor. So I kind of tell you a little bit of a story of a client I had a few months ago come through. They were planning to sell their house to Opendoor. They got them under contract. They got a charge of a 5% seller fee to sell it to Opendoor, which is roughly about how much it would cost to list with an agent. And then also, the owner of the house had to also give in $15,000 in seller credits. Now, this was back in April, March, where basically you could throw anything on the market, you would get over list price without having to do any repairs. This client of mine, like I said, they were looking to sell to Opendoor. They had to pay the normal kind of regular fees as if it would have they would have sold it with me, and then they also had to pay out seller credits for repairs that weren't even needed. So it cost them even more money on the back end. It's kind of a weird situation. This client also happened to be interested in an Opendoor property that I showed them. And we went through the house, and this is like the first time in an Opendoor owned home. And they're like, oh, wow, they don't do anything to these houses. I was like, Yeah, they generally they just buy them and relist them for $60,000 more on the market, hoping to get someone in desperate need of a house to come in and swoop it up, and they're like, "Oh, I just made 30, 45 grand just flipping this house," basically. Now with the market kind of softening, a little bit of a shift, you're starting to see houses that Open Door bought at 500 now be listed at 500 or going for under what they actually bought it for. I just want you to kind of think about that. When you're going with an iBuyer, there is a convenience factor involved. I get that. But more often than not, you're getting a contract that is not very friendly to you and it's very friendly to the iBuyer. You're likely going to net less money and you're not having someone advocate on your behalf. Especially a couple of examples that I've heard over the last few months with the market shifting is we're starting to see basically buyers be able to go onto the market and get under contract on new houses with a contingent offer. Basically, that means I have to sell my old house in order to qualify for my new house. What I unfortunately have heard many, many stories of over the last few months is buyers were getting under contract on the new house. It was contingent on the sale of their old house. They were planning their under contract on their old house to sell to one of these iBuyers. And in the last week, sometimes even the day before the expected close of escrow on the old house, the iBuyer pulled out. They got to keep all their earnest money, and basically the buyer, the family that was selling their house and buying the new house, they were out of luck. They lost out on their dream home, and they were just like back at square one. And now what do I do? They still have their old house. They then lost out on their new house, and they have to go back searching again. So I don't want that to happen to you. It's just a situation out there that is 100% avoidable if you work with the right people. Whether you work with me or you work with someone else, I don't care. I don't recommend working with an iBuyer personally. That's my opinion. And another piece I kind of want to go into is a few weeks ago, there was big news of the FTC coming down on Open Door after an investigation on kind of their marketing practices and their things of that nature. So I just want to kind of go over a little bit of that on what that FTC report was and what kind of the outcome was. So the agency investigation found that Open Door had also violated the law by misrepresenting these three things. They used projected market value prices when making offers to buy homes, when in fact, this is what they're actually doing, when in fact they're using the prices included with downward adjustments to market values. So basically, if you would have gone on the market and did a normal sale, you would have gotten a higher price for what they were offering you. Next, they said Open Door made money from disclosed fees, when in reality they were making based on selling low or buying low and then selling high. And the next, consumers likely would have paid the same amount in repair costs whether they sold through Open Door or through traditional sales. Like I said, from my client earlier this year, they're selling to Open Door. They're having to give Open Door $15,000 in seller credits, seller concessions for repairs that weren't needed and that if they would have been on the actual market, they would not have had to do. And then lastly, consumers likely would have paid less in costs by selling to Open Door than they would have paid in a traditional sale. Again, it's not the case. I feel really bad for those people that are going into those Open Door sales and like I said, most people, they're not in the market every day dealing with sales and how transactions work, and they don't have a huge understanding of what is going on, what their rights are, what their market value is, and you really need someone that's in the dirt every single day, living and breathing that, so they can get a clear understanding and advisement on what are the best options for you and what makes sense for you. Those are the big four things that Open Door kind of got caught doing. Here's some of the actions that came out of that settlement. Open Door had to pay $62 million in settlement costs. Next, they had to stop deceiving potential homeowners. This order prohibits Open Door from making the deceptive, false, and unsubstantiated, I can't say that word, claims it made to consumers how much money they would receive and the cost it would take to use their service. And then lastly, stop making baseless claims. The order requires Open Door to have a competent and reliable evidence to support any representations made about costs, savings, financial benefits associated with using their service, and any claims about costs associated with using a traditional sale. Those are, I think that's a huge win for consumers. They get to see what's actually going on. That's kind of what an iBuyer is. Like I said, Open Door, OfferPad, Zillow, if they end up coming back. Those are the main iBuyers, at least here in Phoenix. There may be others in other markets, but I just want to kind of give you that knowledge to make sure that you're making the right decision for you. Whether you're buying a house from Open Door, whether you're selling your house to an iBuyer, all that stuff. If you have any other questions or thinking about making a move, I'd love to help you out. I'd love to answer any questions. I just like to help people. So if you have anything that I can help with, hit me up in the comments, hit me up in the DMs. I just want to help people out. But other than that, have a good one, guys.